Data privacy in a pandemic, the ethics of contact tracing apps. Welcome back to the Ethical Tech Explainer. In the early, uncertain days of the COVID-19 pandemic, the world scrambled for solutions. As societies locked down, an old public health tool was given a new, high-tech upgrade: contact tracing. The idea was simple and powerful. Use the smartphones in our pockets to automate the process of tracking infections and notifying those at risk. In a time of crisis, it was presented as a digital silver bullet. But this unprecedented fusion of public health and personal technology forced us to confront a monumental ethical trade-off. How much privacy were we willing to sacrifice for the sake of safety? To understand the ethical debate, we first need to understand how these apps worked. Two main models emerged, and the difference between them is crucial. The first was the centralized model. In this system, your phone would log the anonymous IDs of other app users you came into close contact with. If you tested positive, this list of contacts would be uploaded to a central server, typically run by a government health authority. That central server would then analyze the data and send out exposure notifications. Some countries like France and Australia initially adopted this approach, arguing it gave health officials valuable data to track the spread of the virus. The second, and more widely adopted model, was decentralized. This was championed by a rare collaboration between tech rivals Apple and Google. They built a privacy-focused framework directly into their operating systems. In this model, the matching of contacts happens on your own device. Your phone periodically downloads a list of the anonymous IDs of everyone who is tested positive. Your phone, and only your phone, then checks to see if any of those IDs match the ones it has stored locally from your recent contacts. No central server ever sees the social graph of who you've met. This was designed specifically to minimize the privacy risk. The promise of both models was to augment the slow, labor-intensive process of manual contact tracing. But the ethical concerns were immediate and profound. With the centralized model, the primary fear was government surveillance. A central database of citizens' interactions, even if anonymized, is a tempting target for hackers and a powerful tool for state monitoring that could last long after the pandemic ended. The decentralized model, while much better for privacy, wasn't perfect either. For either system to be effective, a critical mass of the population, some estimates said over 60%, needed to download and use the app. This led to a debate about whether their use should be mandatory. Furthermore, the reliance on Bluetooth technology was imperfect. It could trigger false positives through walls or fail to register contact in crowded outdoor spaces, leading to either unnecessary panic or a false sense of security. But the biggest ethical worry for any model was a concept known as function creep. This is the risk that technology introduced for one limited emergency purpose is later used for something else entirely. Could contact tracing data collected for public health eventually be used by law enforcement to place a suspect at the scene of a crime? Could it be used by employers to screen employees, or by advertisers to build even more detailed profiles of our lives? In Germany, there were reports of police attempting to use data from a restaurant check-in app designed for contact tracing to identify witnesses to a crime, a clear case of function creep in action. The debate also highlighted a stark digital divide. These apps required a modern smartphone, effectively excluding the elderly, the poor, and those in rural communities, often the very people most vulnerable to the virus. This raised questions of equity and justice. Was this technology creating a two-tiered public health system? As the pandemic wore on, the question of effectiveness became paramount. Was the privacy trade-off even worth it? The evidence is mixed. In some countries, the apps were credited with identifying thousands of cases that would have otherwise been missed. In many others, low adoption rates and technical glitches rendered them largely ineffective. The so-called pingdemic in the UK, where hundreds of thousands of people were told to isolate by the app, caused widespread disruption and many just deleted it. This demonstrated a crucial point. Technology is not a substitute for public trust. Without it, even the most cleverly designed system will fail. The era of pandemic contact tracing apps may be over, but its legacy remains. We normalized the idea of our phones being used as public health surveillance devices. We saw tech giants and governments collaborate to deploy a massive data collection infrastructure in record time. This experience serves as a crucial case study for the future. When the next crisis hits, be it another pandemic, a climate disaster, or a security threat, the call to deploy technology for the greater good will come again. The lesson from contact tracing is that we must have clear public debates about the ethical guardrails, strict purpose limitations, mandatory data deletion, and robust oversight before we press download. That's all for this episode. Join us next time on the Ethical Tech Explainer as we look at how social media platforms are designed to be echo chambers and ask if we're losing the ability to talk to each other.